Page 2, this is the one where the least amount of issues are happening, so I'm going to go pretty quick through it. But basically, if you have a squared minus b squared, this is always going to factor into a plus and a minus. This is called a difference of squares. So DOS, difference of squares. So what do we got? The square root of a squared is a. The square root of b squared is b. So the square root of a squared goes here, the square root of b squared goes there, and that's the exact same thing that's happening when you go over here. And if you do FOIL, hopefully you'll realize the outside and the inside will cancel, so you will be left with a squared minus b squared. So when you do these problems, you got to figure out, what's making x squared. Well, the square root of x squared is x. The square root of 25 is 5. So we go x plus 5, x minus 5. And again, just so you're not listening to me and like following a rule, think about the outside and the inside. If you FOIL this, this would be x squared, outside would be negative 5x, inside would be positive 5x, and then the last would be negative 25. So these are going to completely cancel off. That's why this is the correct factored version. Okay, so when we do these, we basically need to get a couple of binomials. We do a plus, we do a minus. Square root of 64x squared is actually 8x, so that goes in both front slots, and then we got 11, square root of 121. Okay, next one's new. You've never done this one before. Oh, I take that back. Sorry, I thought we were doing cubes, and it's not on this factor check. So we definitely, I'm telling you in the directions, pull out a GCF. Don't try to factor it further while you're taking out a GCF, okay? So take out the GCF first. In this problem, there's an x in common to every term. So I've got x squared plus 3x minus 28. There was no number that can come out. But it says take out a GCF, which is great, but then factor further. So now think about this. Well, just like the other side of this factor check, we now have to guess and check. So this sign is important. That tells me that we're going to have what? One of each. So a plus and a minus. Well, x and x. Remember, I'm not trying to get to the original problem. I'm just trying to get what's in the green parentheses here. So factors of 28 are 1 and 28, 2 and 14, 4 and 7, and that's all of them. So I'm going to try a 7 and a 4. And when I actually go through and test and verify negative 4x, positive 7x, this is the correct way to factor that trinomial. But the problem is you cannot circle this. You need to keep this x along for the ride. It is one of the factors. So we have 3 factors here. We have a GCF and then 2 binomial factors for this problem. Okay, likewise, except for now, all we can take out is a number 3. So 3, and then you got x squared minus x minus 12. Right? 3x squared minus 3x minus 36. Okay, so basically, we've got ourselves, what? A minus sign again. So we have a plus, we have a minus, and here we go. So this is an x, that's an x, factors of 12, 1 and 12, 2 and 6, 3 and 4. If this part of it right now is throwing you off, I hope you watch the first page with the trinomial factoring, because I go through 4 of those. All right, so basically there we are. I can put a 4 here. I can put a 3 here. So now I got to carry down the 3, and this is the actual factored correct version completely. All right, finally down here, sorry, not finally, number 12, just so you know, greatest common factor is what that stands for. Greatest common factor. I think I just had too many loops on the M there. Oh well. Looks like nothing. I got no joke for that. I was going to try. Okay, so back up to here, number 11. Solve by factoring. Circle both answers. I'm even telling you there's 2 answers, trying to lead you here. But step 1, we have said when there's an equal sign, you have to get one side equal to 0. So I'm going to add 10x to both sides. Okay, I'm also going to subtract 24 from both sides of this problem. Now, this will cancel, this will cancel. I'm going to write it up here, but now I have x squared plus 10x minus 24 equals 0. Now I'm going to slow down for a second because that, when I'm looking at these, when I'm grading these, is not happening for most of you that are messing up these problems. The first thing you do is get everything to one side. Now, some of you are trying to subtract this x squared over to that side. It's not wrong, it's just that now you're going to have a negative and that tends to mess you up. So I would keep this positive, add 10x to both sides, they're gone. Subtract 24, they're gone, and now these are not like terms, so we get ourselves a trinomial. So step 1, get one side equal to 0. Step 2, we want to factor. So now we're going to factor using the correct way to factor. Well, this time it's not a GCF. There is no GCF. So we got to do our signs are again plus and minus because there's a minus right here. So we got x and x. And when you start playing around with the factors of 24, the two that are closest together are actually 8 and 3. So we got 1 and 24, we got 2 and 12, we got what? 4 and 6? 4 times 6, I don't know. And then we got, did I miss one in there? Yeah, 3 times 8. We got a lot of factors of 24. But the two that actually work here, when you play around, are actually the 2 and the 12. So if you put a 12 here and you put a 2 here, plus 12x minus 2x, that does get you there. Okay, so now you need to see that I have some, whoops, didn't mean to do that. Hold on, back up. Okay, I meant to hit the highlighter. All right, I have something times something equal to 0. So what does that mean? That means one of these somethings has to equal 0. So one factor times another factor equals 0. So that's where we get our split. So we got x plus 12 equals 0, or x minus 2 equals 0. Adding 2 to both sides on this one, I get an answer of 2. Subtracting 12 to both sides of this one, I get a negative 12. And your fun fact for the day, to finish this video, is that my favorite number in the world is 12, not negative 12. All right, bye.